In this instructional video, I'm going to show you how to properly prepare and terminate the new standard super flexible coax cable for Marlink. Our new standard super flexible coax cable is the Cellflex SCF12 J50N. Cellflex also provides a mandatory connector for the cable, which comes in a cardboard packaging. The packaging contains the connector itself, an O-ring for the cable, an optional heat shrink, and instructions on how to prepare and terminate the cable. Cellflex also provides an optional trim tool for the cable. The name of the trim tool is S12, and if you do not have it, you may use a ruler instead, just to measure out the cuts that the trim tool will make for you. The other tools that you will need for this job are a cable cutter big enough to cut a 1/2 inch coax cable, a bow file with a fresh and sharp blade, any type of medium-sized pliers, a carpenter's knife, and 2 18mm spanners. Step 1. Cut the cable to the appropriate length of your installation. Make sure to leave some extra cable in the radome and the rack, but don't leave too much because it will just be in the way. When you have made the coarse cut through the cable, place it on something stable and use the bow file to make a perfectly straight and clean cut through the cable. As you can see, we have achieved a perfectly straight and clean cut through the cable. This is very important to ensure a good fit inside the trim tool. In the next step, grab the trim tool, open it up, and place the cable inside the trim tool all the way down to the end stop. Close the trim tool and then turn the trim tool in the indicated arrow direction. And you're going to turn about 2 or 3 times until you feel that the trim tool has made a proper cut through the outer conductor of the cable. When you have removed the trim tool, you're ready to strip the cable jacket off the cable. You will see that the trim tool has made one deep cut through the cable around here and then one shallow cut around here. For the first part of the cable jacket, just cut it off like this, and for the second part, be more careful and just make a small slit in the cable jacket, and then grab that slit and just strip the cable jacket off by hand. And as you will see now, the cable jacket will come off naturally where the trim tool made the cut. Now, as the outer conductor is exposed, grab your pliers, put them on the tip of the cable, and just carefully unscrew the first part of the outer conductor. When you have removed the outer conductor, you are ready to strip the foam off the center conductor. Place the cable on something stable and grab the carpenter's knife and make one cut along the cable. It is very important that you cut deep enough so that when you strip the foam off, you will not have any remains of foam on the center conductor. At the same time, it is important that you are careful and develop a feeling for this so that you don't cut so deep that you damage the center conductor. You need a perfect surface on the center conductor to achieve a good signal going through the cable. When you have made the cut along the cable and around it, place the tip of the knife inside the first cut and just pry open the foam. And as you will see now, the foam will come naturally off in one whole piece, like this. Once the foam is removed and the center conductor is exposed, grab the trim tool again and place the cable inside the sharpening hole of the trim tool. Then twist and turn the trim tool about 20 times. When you have completed this, you are going to move the trim tool to another position so that the center conductor is going to be equally conical on all sides. This is because the trim tool only has one blade in that sharpening hole. So to achieve a symmetrical shape, you need to do the sharpening on all sides of the center conductor. As you can see, we have completed the preparation of the cable. We have a perfectly clean and straight cut through the cable jacket and a completely intact outer conductor with no scratches. Also, we have a clean and straight cut through the outer conductor and the foam, and we do not have any burrs or remains of foam sticking out. The same goes for the center conductor. The surface is scratch-free and does not have any remains of the foam. And the tip is conical, which the sharpening hole made. Now you're ready to mount the connector on the cable. Grab the O-ring that comes in the connector packaging and put it on top of the outer conductor. Carefully move the O-ring downwards on the cable without tearing it. And then when you reach about 2 or 3 millimeters away from the cable jacket, you stop. You leave a gap between the O-ring and the cable jacket because when you mount the connector, the O-ring will be pushed back and then become flush with the cable jacket. Next, you grab the first part of the connector that comes in the packaging and you put it on the cable. And then carefully just turn it on and keep turning all the way until it comes to a natural stop. The correct position for the first part of the connector is when the edge of the connector is flush with the cut through the outer conductor and the dielectric foam. In the last step, you're going to put the second part of the connector on the cable and then just turn it on. And when you feel resistance, grab the spanners you have and place one on the first part of the connector and one on the second part of the connector. And then you're going to use the first spanner to hold the first part of the connector and the second one to tighten. And keep tightening all the way until it comes to a natural stop. So when I'm applying pressure here with one finger and it's becoming pretty hard and with a lot of resistance, the termination is complete. This is how the finished product looks like. As you can see, we have achieved the flush fitment of the O-ring with no protrusion over the jacket. At the same time, we don't have much of a gap between the first part and the second part of the connector. They are closely together. And if I try to pull or twist the connector on the cable, it stays still. The next part of the job for this cable would be to put on the heat shrink if this were a connector that was going to be used outside, exposed to weather. Then you would put another connector on the other end, and if you have a spectrum analyzer, you would perform a cable loss test to check the quality of the cable and the quality of your terminations. Thank you for watching and see you next time.